This is Doug DeMuro, and today it's time to talk about my Lamborghini Countach breakdown. My Countach broke down on the side of the freeway, and today I'm going to tell you all about what happened, how it got fixed, and what's going on with the Countach. Let's do it. Before we get started, are you ready for your next cool car? Sell your enthusiast car on Cars and Bids. Trading in your car to dealers means you aren't getting market value for your car, leaving you with less cash for your next fun car. Just look at our recent sales of these cool cars compared to current trade-in value. This is a trade-in offer, and this was the Cars and Bids result. This is a trade-in offer, and this was the Cars and Bids result. This is the trade-in offer, and this is the Cars and Bids result. Get started now on carsandbids.com. Sell on Cars and Bids and join the best community to sell your enthusiast car. Okay, so the Lamborghini Countach broke down. This is something that a lot of you are not particularly surprised by. I bought my 1983 Lamborghini Countach. It's been about 2.5 years, actually, since I bought that car. And in that time, I've done just under 3,000 miles in the car, which is a lot. Not a lot of people drive in a Lamborghini Countach at all, let alone, 1,000 or 1,500 miles per year. But I've been using the car a lot. The thing about my Countach use is I've been using it whenever I've wanted. And I think a lot of people with sports cars do that, right? Like hey, I don't have to carry my kids or whatever. I'm going somewhere fun. I can bring my sports car. But a lot of people with Lamborghini Countaches don't do that because the car has a bit of a reputation for being kind of troublesome and also kind of difficult to drive, difficult to handle, low and bad visibility and loud. And so most people only bring their Countaches to like very special occasions or whatever. That hasn't really been my use case with it. I at least drive it twice every single week here around San Diego and drive it to the office frequently. I drive it around a lot. I really use that car. In the first year that I owned my Countach, every single time I would turn it on, or I would start to think to myself, what does that sound? Is there something, is it broken? What, oh God, what does that sound? Is that new? Does that feel differently? Does the accelerator pedal feel, did that make a difference? Because, the Countach has such a reputation. People talk about how difficult they are, how unreliable they are. And I was so nervous about that for the first year. And then, a year goes by and I've been using the car again, however I've wanted. So every time I've been like, I'm going to take the Countach. I just did. And never gave me any trouble, never gave me any issues, never gave me any pushback. And so, 1 year led to 2 years. And again, it was the same situation. And coming into this breakdown on the side of the freeway, the Countach has never stranded me. And it had gotten to the point where in a podcast episode a couple of weeks ago, I was actually talking about how the Countach has become my favorite car that I own and that it has been pretty reliable. And then just a couple of weeks after that, it broke down. And so when I posted the breakdown pictures, a lot of people are saying, you jinxed it, or you were just talking about how reliable it is, or see, it's not very reliable, it still breaks down. And obviously the timing was kind of funny. So let me walk through what happened, and then let me talk through, my thoughts of the reliability of the car. So I'm driving along. This is Saturday morning 3 weeks ago, and I'm coming back from Cars and Coffee, where my friends and I often go on Saturday mornings. And I'm driving by myself, just cruising along in the Countach. I was going probably about 90 miles an hour, which that car only has a 5-speed manual. So when you're going 90, you're pretty high up in the rev range, behind me, feeling good. And suddenly I feel like a hesitation in the accelerator pedal, little room, which isn't necessarily a huge cause for concern in that car because it's carbureted, and you do get such hesitations occasionally. My car is set up really well. It is very rare that I get that, but you'd get it sometimes. I'm like, all right, not that worried. But then instantly right after the hesitation, like a type of sound, a little bit of smoke comes out the back, and I have absolutely no power. I have no acceleration. And I was in the left lane of the 5 freeway here in San Diego with no power. And thankfully, because I had been going so fast, I had enough velocity to kind of coast myself over to the side of the freeway. Now, I'm not a big side of the freeway kind of guy. I really hate stopping on the side of the freeway. A couple years ago, I had a flat tire in my Toyota Sequoia, and I did everything in my power to get off the freeway and get onto pull off on an exit and get off onto an access road rather than just be on the side of the freeway, because I've seen enough dash cam videos of cars hitting cars stopped on the side of the freeway to know that is not a particularly safe place that you want to be. But
In this particular case, I didn't have a choice. The car was I couldn't get it to restart. I was pressing the accelerator pedal. It wouldn't do anything. And so I'm in the left lane, and I got to get over, and I'm slowly losing speed, and I'm trying to get over, and people aren't letting me over. There's not that much traffic, but like I'm kind of slowly coasting, turn signal on, like desperately, like get it, move, and people are like honking, and it's like I'm not trying to cut you off. I'm in an emergency here. Like I can't move. Like you're not winning by like honking at me and showing me that you're mad. Like I'm screwed here. Thankfully, I finally was able to get all the way over to the side of the freeway. And again, not exactly where you want to be, especially in a car that valuable, but I had no choice. And I got it to the side of the freeway, and my first thought was, hey, this car's never stranded me before. I have a lot of trust in it. I'm just going to try to start it again. And the procedure for starting that car is you first have to twist the key, wait about 30 seconds in the accessories mode while the fuel pump kind of sends fuel into the engine, and then you flip it on. And so I did that. Fuel pump came on, which is a good sign. Fuel pump's working, ignition's working, but the car just wouldn't turn over. So the first thing I do is I'm nervous. I mean, I'm sitting on the side of the highway with this car, it's a very valuable car, and it's also like a Countach, and I'm on the side of the freeway with cars going by at high speed, 6 lanes of traffic. And so the first thing I did was I texted my friends who I had been at Cars and Coffee with, and my friend Sam was right behind me. He had left right after me, and so he actually pulled over within a couple of minutes and was there with me. And my friend Kevin, who had also left Cars and Coffee, he was going the other direction, but once he found out that I broke down on the side of the road, he turned around and came and joined us. And then I did the next thing that, if you're a Countach owner, you have to be able to do. I called a tow truck. I called AAA, and I've got AAA in part because of my crazy cars. I will say I have not been stranded in one of my sports cars since the fall of 2018. So it had been 7 years since I had a breakdown in one of my cars that stranded me on the side of the road. Obviously, I'm a big believer in doing preventative maintenance and repairs, and a lot of that stuff to make sure this kind of thing never happens to me, because sometimes I don't have the time to deal with this sort of thing. So I called AAA and I said, hey, you got to send on a flatbed. And they said, we'll expedite it because you're on the side of the freeway. And so, they dispatched one. And then me and my friends kind of were just joking about how ridiculous the situation was. And it was actually kind of an interesting moment in perspective. There's a couple of pictures of me and my buddies just like laughing on the side of the freeway or smiling. And some of the people in the comments on my Instagram post when I made this post were like, how can you be laughing when you're on the side of the freeway, your car's broken down? And I gotta say, like, there was a time in my life when you wouldn't have been laughing. A car breaks down and you're thinking to yourself, can I afford this repair? Is this repair going to make me late on rent? And I haven't broken down in so long that I haven't even had this experience in a long time. And yet, I'm part of the reason that I thought it was so funny, and so it is something. It's amazing to be in a life position where you don't have to really worry about that, where whatever it was going to be able to be fixed, and it wasn't going to cause me a huge problem. And the tow truck is coming. We got to a safe place, and it's all good. And plus, I broke down on my Lamborghini Countach. Of course, I broke down on my Lamborghini. We knew it was eventually going to happen, and so there was a little bit of funniness to that. But there was a little bit of humor and a little bit of hilarity, just when you think about the fact that, hey, this isn't like 10 years or 15 years ago that it would have been a massive, massive deal in my life and my finances. Will I be able to continue existing with whatever this is? Is this going to be a big problem or a little problem? And there's something kind of nice about that. So a lot of people were wondering why I was like so jovial. Well, that's why. So anyway, tow truck comes, and that's a scary moment. That there are hooks underneath a Countach that are tied to the chassis, that are welded onto the chassis, where you can put a tow hook to lift a car up onto a flatbed. It's very difficult to sit in the car while it's being pulled up onto the flatbed at this crazy steep angle and just sort of let it happen. Like, I was incredibly anxious. First off, are these hooks actually good enough to propel the car? Now, the car had actually been on a flatbed before, not because it broke down, but because I was transporting it somewhere, used these hooks before, and so I knew they could do that. But it's a whole different experience when you are physically sitting in the car, you're looking up at the sky, and you're thinking, I really hope the hook doesn't break right now, because it would just roll back onto the freeway and I'm screwed. Like, not a good situation. But Didn't happen, got on the flatbed, and I flatbedded it off to my local Lamborghini shop, which is called Bobolef Motor Car Company, which is kind of a vintage Lamborghini and Ferrari restoration shop, but they'll also do typical maintenance and repair work, especially for local guys on older Lamborghinis and Ferraris. So I sent it in there. And that was on a Saturday morning. And I got to say, props to AAA. Tow truck came in 2 minutes. Not 2, but maybe 8. I mean, it was really fast. The car broke down at, let's call it 10:30 a.m. I would say by 11 a.m. it was on the flatbed. Like, that was after me calling, my friends coming, etc. Like 30 minutes it was on the truck, and the truck was driving off. It's like, okay, we're in good shape. Took it over to Bobolef's shop. And amazingly, within, obviously it was a Saturday that it came in. They don't work on Saturday or Sunday. But Monday, they're working on the car, and they call me Monday afternoon and say, hey, we're all good. You're done. And I'm like, oh my God, that's it? That's all? What exactly was it? So they told me that the drive gear on the distributor was stripped. And so they replaced the drive gear and reset the engine timing. And they also told me they had to replace the battery and one of the battery terminal connectors because it was worn. Other than that, it was pretty easy. And they got it done in a day. For, I don't know, like $2,000, something like that, $2,500. So the car came back like right away. I actually I had scraped the front spoiler at some point, 4 times. And so I had them repaint that too while it was in there. But I had the car back by Thursday with a freshly painted front spoiler, front license plate holes filled, and the mechanical problem solved. Super quick, easy turnaround, and it's already back and doing well. And so I want to talk a little bit about Countach reliability, because I think there's going to be people who are like, well, it broke down on you. You only drove the car 2,600 miles and then it broke down on you. I got to say, I'm not the usual be an apologist for an unreliable car type of guy. I like to call out unreliable cars for being unreliable. The Countach, again, has served me tremendously well. Like, I have been able to use it exactly how I've wanted to for the last 2.5 years. I have taken it to everything I've wanted to go, cars and coffee, to the office, or to run errands, whatever, and it has always started, it has always done what I've asked of it, and that is with like regular, frequent use. Not just like, oh, I only take it to car shows and I polish it with a diaper. Like, I am using this car as much as I am using that car or my daily driver cars. Like, the Countach is getting a lot of use for a 43-year-old Italian high-strung sports car. A lot of people in the comments of my Instagram post are saying, oh, well, it's not reliable. I don't know. To me, if I can get 2,600 miles in 2.5 years between breakdowns and then it only takes a day to repair it, it's not like I'm expecting this car to be a Toyota Camry. Like, I know the risks when I drive a Lamborghini Countach that it's going to have some problems and it will probably strand me. My expectation when I bought the car, based on how people talk about these things, was that the Countach was going to be stranding me all the time and it was going to be so bad and there would be constant like, oh, it barely started this time and it's running rough this time and you take it into the shop. And that was my expectation. That has not been the case. The car has run consistently. The car has run well. It does not run over temperature. It does exactly what I'd expect in terms of steering, in terms of acceleration. Like, there are no dead spots, there are no misfires, there are no mistakes, there are no issues. The car has just done what's requested of it. And I think 2,600 miles in a 43-year-old car, you get one breakdown after 2.5 years. You kind of expect that, right? Like, in my mind, you kind of expect that. And to be honest, even though that's not exactly the most reliable car, only being able to drive 2,600 miles between services, it's more reliable than I expected, and it's more reliable than I think a lot of people think a Countach would be. And to have the service just kind of turn it around and be done, I mean, that's pretty good, pretty good shape. And so, I don't know, I'm a bit of an apologist for it, but at the same time, it's not like I drove it 2,500 miles and it blew the motor, or it's not like it's always been problematic. It has always been dead reliable for me. And having the occasional breakdown flatbed is part of what I signed up for. I knew it was coming, and I'm not particularly surprised that it happened. So there you go. That was my Countach breakdown story. Not so bad, and it is still my favorite car that I own. It is still just such an absolute thrill to drive that car. It's hard for me to explain really just how much I love getting in that car. I have a lift here at home in my garage here, and the Countach is always parked up. And when I am going to use it that day, bringing it down on the lift and watching the Countach sort of appear in my view, I think to myself, like, this is the coolest thing in the world. I can't believe I have this. I can't believe how lucky I am. I can't believe how special this is. Today's going to be an amazing day to go drive this car. And I still feel that way. And a little breakdown isn't going to change my thoughts. So there you go. Countach breakdown, minor fix, 24-hour turnaround. No big deal. Back on the road. We'll see, at least until the next one.